Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're doing a special edition remote at MCRD of our Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. We are in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. So honored to have in the studio with us Colonel Peter Rummler. He's the commanding officer of recruit training at Regiment MCRD. How you doing, Colonel?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
How long have you been involved with the Marines?
So I've been in the Marine Corps for about 31 years now, and I enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1994 and got my commission in 2000 and, have been at it ever since.
Well, I appreciate your service. Family members that were in the military? Grandparents, fathers, aunts, uncles, pets?
So the only person that I know of that was in the military before me was my grandfather. He was on a Navy minesweeper in World War II.
Where was he?
He was in the Mediterranean.
So my dad, and thank you so much, Joni and you guys here, was at Guadalcanal.
Okay.
Right. He was a doctor. And so I've got his little picture up in the museum up there. And Joni was just so wonderful, did some research on my dad, and I found out the history of his medical career.
Wow,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
well,
great.
Listen, I think the world of you guys, and for 75 different reasons and so forth on it. I love your very simple mission. And what is that?
We make Marines.
And I love the fact it's we. When the theme of this whole interviews we've had is every one of the folks, your colleagues, and just always talk about there's no I, it's always we. Talk about how important that is.
So I think it's really important because there's nothing that any one of us does that accomplishes the mission alone. We work together as a team, and as a team we succeed. It's something that is very important to all Marines, no matter what our mission is, no matter what we're doing, whether it be a supporting establishment or whether it be the operating forces. We have to work together to accomplish the overall mission of serving the country and making sure that the American people are safe.
Yeah, and listen, anyone who spends any time here, I was honored to be, thank you, to Commanding General Ryans and Jim Grooney at one of the graduations, which is unbelievable. Everybody in this world should see one, especially in this region. It is quite a deal over here, and it's wonderful. You're celebrating a pretty special anniversary this year, are you not?
That's right. 250 years of the Marine Corps.
What big things you have planned for the base?
So, the base has a few things going on, and I think that there's multiple engagements throughout the year. It's really something that's special. I know that General Hyman has who just took the reins here this week.
Yesterday, right? Yeah,
that's right. Just yesterday,
right?
We'll be doing a lot of things to get the community on board the base so that they can see it and enjoy the things that we enjoy on a daily basis.
And that was the sole spirit of the earlier interviews with Joni and then with Ashley, of course, and wonderful talking to Megan, the band, director, and of course Austin Gallegos. He's been working with us for a while. I mean, top-notch guy here. We just want people to experience what MCRD is all about because it will change your view of the Marines, will it not?
I think so. I think that a lot of people's view of the Marine Corps is what they see on television or what they see in the movies. And, some of that is not very flattering. But, I can tell you that the real Marine Corps that's made up of men and women from across the nation people who have volunteered to serve their country, to sacrifice a tremendous amount of their own personal time they would otherwise be spending with their families. When they see that sacrifice and then the result of it, which is, I think, something that's really special as well, particularly on this base, where, again, what we're doing is we're making new Marines that are going to go off and they're going to continue the legacy of the Marine Corps into the future.
Yeah, the best warfighting group around, if I do say so myself, but I'm not sure what calls for me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. But also, not just the Marines, but the drill instructors themselves, too.
That's true. The drill instructors are hand-selected, and they come here and they attend drill instructor school. Drill instructor school is about an 11-week course, and as they go through that course, what we're really emphasizing is attributes that are already within those Marines. The adherence to our core values of honor, courage, and commitment, and then teaching them how to instill those values in new recruits when they arrive here, so that after a 3-month boot camp, they're able to carry on into the future. I mean, it is something that's very special, but it takes a tremendous amount of time and is very demanding on the drill instructors, just simply because there's no easy way to develop those habits of thought that a young man or woman needs to display in order to develop the attributes of a United States Marine.
Yeah, there's no question about that. You brought up something earlier, Colonel, that I wanted to sort of glom on it. You might have chatted with some of your colleagues about that before, and obviously the amount of hours that they dedicate to becoming Marines, of course, and of course in DIs as well. But listen, anybody who spent any time talking to folks like you, active and of course certainly veterans, you served twice. I mean, certainly you served to defend us on our soil and abroad, but you're out in the community. You're out, Little League fields. You're out there doing 4 million things with youth and everybody else. Talk about how that happens.
So a lot of the times it's just the individual Marines with ties to the community. It's not something, at least within our regiment, it's not something that we plan from, like my level. I'm not telling Marines, go out and engage with the community.
Right.
What's happening is, those Marines actually live in the community. They're part of the community. And so they go to the places that are important to them and they engage, whether it be the YMCA or a local elementary school. They go out there, they volunteer their time, and that is how they give back to the community.
And you folks have always been very forward-thinking when it comes to that. I've been honored to go to SDMAC breakfast for about a zillion years, and of course, you folks host us. It seems like every other month over the Bayview Club and so forth. And I think that is something that is not lost on people that have never gone to an SDMAC breakfast or spent time with you to say, my goodness, you are the most humble people in the world. I get excited. I wrote a good memo. Great. There's someone that's oversees 50,000 troops, for God's sake. What you do is unbelievable. Talk a little bit about how proud of you and the process and how you train your Marines and how you train your drill instructors.
So specifically training the drill instructors, they go to drill instructor school.
Right.
And, we emphasize actually displaying the values that we want to instill in the Marines. That is something that I think is really important because they have to demonstrate by their own example, the high standards of personal conduct, morality, professional skill that we expect Marines to actually display on a daily basis. They can't do that unless they are actually exhibiting those attributes. And the recruits who, again, they volunteered to come here, they mimic their drill instructors. It is amazing, the personalities of the drill instructors will rub off on the recruits, and each one of them is unique. And so it's really important to train the drill instructor to give them refresher training on how to do that, because they already have those values because they themselves went through recruit training.
Right.
But to bring that to the surface and then show them the techniques that are most effective for actually providing those core values to the young men and women when they get here.
We're chatting with Colonel Peter Rummler. He's the commanding officer of Recruit Training at Regiment MCRD. I'm Drew Schlosberg, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are now in our 19th year. We are the longest-running community podcast brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in our community, whether it's food insecurity or it's financial literacy or art or everything in between on that aspect of it. I imagine that every Marine, no matter if they did 4 years, 44 years, never forgets their DI. Is that correct?
That is true. I myself went to boot camp here in 1994, and as a 17-year-old, and I can tell you that I remember every single one of my drill instructors, and it is something that's very special. And we've talked about the training for the drill instructors, but I think that the training for the recruits is also something that again, I know from personal experience that you remember almost every moment. It is something that when you're in it, it's not much fun. But then again, boot camp isn't really designed to be fun. But it does develop some really good attributes that'll benefit that young man or woman for the rest of their lives, whether they decide to stay in for 4 years or 40. It doesn't matter. It's going to help them succeed later in life.
Well, I'll tell you for sure. My best friend in high school decided to. We're about 100 years older than you, Colonel, but decided to join the Marines. I said, "Oh, okay." Of all the people in the world, I said, "You're going to join the Marines?" He loved it and made a career out of it, 40 plus years, and he trained down here and so forth. And I'm not sure we wound up in D.C. I think some places out there, and I loved the stories he told about his training here in boot camp. He happened to be one of these guys that was in unbelievable shape anyway. He loved to run. I think he finished number 2 in his PT, maybe even number 1 for God's sake in this aspect of it. But he just never, and he still, when I see him, we went to the same high school, so we had high school reunions, we get together. He still talks about it. Actually, still looks like he could sit there and do a PT right now with you folks. Talk about the things that have changed from 1994. Is that when you were
That's correct.
A 17-year-old? Okay, very good. To how they are trained now, how the training for the recruits are, and the DIs now, basically 31 years later.
So there are probably more similarities than there are differences. And the reason for that is because a Marine is the same Marine now that they were 40, 50, 60 years ago.
Right.
It's the attributes that make a Marine successful, that make a Marine unique, I think, across all the branches of the service. The high degree of discipline, the camaraderie, esprit de corps, the aggressiveness, the desire to succeed, the pursuit of perfection. All of that is something that I think is, at least to the degree that Marines display it, is unique to being a Marine.
Right.
It is something that defines a Marine, and those things are really very intangible. But I think they're the most important part of being a Marine. Modernization, that's one of the things that we have to be very careful about, is as we modernize and introduce new technology, which is good. It's very good to introduce new technology because we can do things more efficiently, we can get things done faster, more accurately. But ultimately, that technology is not what makes a Marine a Marine. It's not, a particular type of weapon system or computer or sensor. It is actually what that individual Marine is able to do, with whatever tools that they are provided to accomplish the mission.
We talk about this quite a bit when we come back from break. I want to really emphasize it. If you have any doubt about a young Marine and what they're going to be future leaders in our country, put them in front of a $35 million piece of machinery or whatever the case may be, what responsibility. I mean, at that age, I'm not sure if I could even sit there and figure out how to dress myself in the morning, for God's sake. And, it's amazing what they do. I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about, life after the Marine Corps, for a lot of the folks that want to stay in San Diego or go somewhere else, and the great opportunities they have. They make unbelievable employees, to say the least, in this area. And also, Colonel, think about what can our listeners do to continue to support the work that you do, and of course your colleagues when we return with Colonel Peter Rummler. He is the commanding officer of Recruit Training Regiment MCRD. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're brought to you by a mission-fed credit union. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So honored to be doing a remote from MCRD. We are into our fourth interview here and chatting with Colonel Peter Rummler, commanding officer of Recruit Training Regiment MCRD. And Colonel, I'd be remiss if we didn't give a big high five to my friend and colleague, Colonel Jim Grooney, who teed all this up. He's quite a guy, is he not?
Yes, yeah, I've known him for a very long time.
That's right. He said he'd known you for quite a while as well. But talk a little bit about, the leadership that you put on these recruits, of course, of the DEIs also, and the confidence you have in them. And that comes from the great training you do.
Yeah, so we focus on leadership throughout the entire curriculum that they go through. It's something that starts a little slow because some of them have zero experience in leadership at all. But as we go through the program, we give them a little more responsibility as the weeks go on. And we make sure that everyone has an opportunity to actually exercise those skills. We have a formal small unit leadership program that we have implemented, and it is something that I think is truly bearing fruit. It is something that helps them develop confidence in themselves, confidence in each other, and it enables them to succeed when they're tasked with accomplishing a difficult mission or whatever it is that they set their minds to. So I really think that the program that we have it does a really good job of generating leaders that can accomplish almost any task that they're assigned.
Which makes them unbelievable employees if they decide to leave the Marine Corps, whether, again, 4 years, 44 years, whatever the case may be. Who wouldn't want to hire someone that has that experience, that has that responsibility? The Corps is the mission to get whatever it is accomplished, how you do it. That's got to be a great feeling for folks like you when you're working with the recruits or the drill instructors as well.
It is. And, I don't think a lot of people appreciate how much responsibility those young people have. It is something, a 25-year-old may be in charge of, a unit with over 100 people in it. And when I say in charge of, they're in charge of every aspect of that unit. Mission accomplishment goes all the way from just taking care of the people that they're in charge of to actually accomplishing a specific task that they are assigned. And I think that's, again, something that makes them very special and puts them, frankly, leaps and bounds above civilian counterparts that maybe just haven't had the opportunity to do the same thing.
Right. How's recruiting going? We talked to some of the other folks that in the other branches as well. Going pretty well with MCRD, or am I wrong on that?
No, from my perspective as the recruit training regiment commander, I think it's going great.
Yeah.
Obviously you'd have to talk to a recruiter if you wanted to know more about that. But I mean, from my perspective, we're getting really, really, high quality product from our recruiting counterparts, and folks that are really motivated. They want to come in, serve their country. They're eager about learning and becoming better versions of themselves.
So what type of attributes do you look at when someone has to be, I'm going to rely on you to be a great recruiter? What do you need to have as those attributes?
So again, because I don't do recruiters,
right.
I couldn't tell you exactly what I would look for in a recruiter. But I do think that, the recruiting mission is very important. Of course, we can't do our mission here at recruit training if the recruiters were not, absolutely knocking it out of the park on a daily basis.
So you got some wonderful stories you want to highlight about a few of your graduates. Please do so.
So, we've had recent graduates from recruit training right here in San Diego. That we have one young man who lost over 100 pounds to come here and train to qualify to get here, and he applied himself while he was here, continued to improve his physical condition, and ultimately graduated and moved out to service in the Marine Corps. And I think that just, goes to show the determination and the amount of drive that individual had. I think that's pretty amazing. We've also had a young man come here who was actually a refugee from Afghanistan, had memories as a child of defending his home in Afghanistan from, people that were trying to hurt his family. Comes here, loves the United States for everything that the United States has done for him and his family, and decides to, return that favor to the United States of America by becoming a United States Marine. And comes here, goes to recruit training, and, graduates and moves on, is serving his country right now. And I think that, again, those two stories are indicative of, folks that really, really, love their country and are doing great things.
Right. And of course, we're going to leave it up to Captain Gay. Go get those stories out to the media. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's exactly right. He's in the audience. He's smiling right now at me. I think he's smiling at me right now. Talk about some of the biggest challenges that you folks are facing. Modernization, maybe not.
So I don't think it's necessarily a challenge so much as it is something that is necessary for us to do.
Right.
We need to continue to modernize. We need to continue to use technology to improve our training, make it more efficient, make it more effective. But like I said before, a very important aspect of that modernization is that we never lose focus on the individual Marine, because that individual Marine is what makes the Marine Corps.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We're chatting with Colonel Peter Rummler, commanding officer of the Recruit Training Regiment, MCRD. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the longest-running community podcast, very proudly in our 19th year. We are brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, literally for 60 years, doing great things in San Diego County. So it's a question I brought up to all of the other guests that have been on the show, Colonel. What can we do? What can our audience do to continue to support this amazing work that you folks do here?
So I think just participate. As events arise, there are multiple occasions over the course of a year where the MCRD invites folks to come aboard, and other bases, that the Marine Corps does events and functions on. There are recruiting events, so on and so forth. Is just participate in those events when it's convenient, when they're able to, because I really want them to see all the good things that the Marines do on a daily basis. And even if it's just for a moment in time, that brief interaction, and then just, if the opportunity presents itself, thank a Marine for everything that they do. That's something that really, it means a lot to those young men and women when somebody just thanks them for everything that they do.
We talked about this earlier with Joni, who is the MCRD museum director, and this is I'm embarrassed to say this is only the third time I've been in the museum. Shame on me, for God's sake. I've only been in San Diego since '75, and unfortunately, to your detriment, I'll be here a lot more visiting this place. But that being said, when you see this place, the museum, when you talk to some of the things that you folks are doing, it's like anything. We use the example of, theater. And, theater you watch on TV is fine, and maybe a movie or a film, but you got to see it live. You have to be here. You have to be here to see what's going on or to find out what you Marines are doing. And take a tour, take a time to really thank the Marines for what they're doing. So I can't thank you for giving up time in your just phenomenally busy day. Any final comments?
I just, want to thank you for everything that you've done. I really appreciate it. And, again, on behalf of all the Marines and Recruit Training Regiment, really think that the local people of San Diego, I mean, the support that we get here, I think, is really second to none.
Well, we can't do it enough. Working closely with Jim Grooney, we're going to continue to shout out all the zillion things. We could have done this show every day for the next 6 months and maybe hit 1/10 of what you folks are doing, and so forth. And you really have to do that. You got to say it more than once, and we're just going to be with you, shoulder to shoulder, as long as you'll have us do that, Colonel.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Colonel Peter Rummler, he is the commanding officer of Recruit Training Regiment, MCRD. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Thanks for listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast, 19 years, brought to you by the good folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.